I know I might have a Rolls Royce and this and that and the other, but like I spend such a minute amount of my money because I think in the back of my head, I'm always programmed to think like, remember what happened to dad? Like he lost it all real fast. Like, don't be a dumbass. Don't go buying things. Don't go buy an island just because you want an island. Like buy the things that you need, buy some things that make you happy, but like don't be too much of a risk taker and too frivolous.
Hey guys, the wolf is here in the wolf's den for another amazing podcast. You guys are going to love this one. I try really hard to always get the best of the best. You know, I succeed most of the time. Sometimes, it's not the best of the best. But in this case, this is the best of the best at what he does. Got Anthony Morrison here, my friend Anthony, who is literally the number one person in the world in digital publishing, meaning how do you create and market courses, essentially, really create the courses more than anything, right? The how-to courses of the world for everything from how to sell products online, how to create educational courses to sell, certification courses. And I got to tell you something flat out. I want you to go into this knowing that this is an incredibly well-respected and ethical guy. Everything he says, he's got the best reputation in the industry. Seriously, number one. So let your guard down. This is going to be nothing but wisdom, and you can take this to the bank, all right? So listen up here because it's worth the price of admission, and it's free to listen. There's no vision, right?
It's worth free.
It's worth free. No, it's amazing. So listen, why don't we get started right at the top, okay? Explain what digital publishing is in your own words.
You know, I think digital publishing, at least for me, it's the ability to take the information that we have, right? Put it in a way that people can consume it, understand it, and then actually use what they've learned, right, in their lives, and do it all online. You know, when I was in college, I was reading books. We talked about before I came on here. I was a biology major. I was going to medical school. This whole internet marketing thing wasn't really my plan, and I remember wondering why I was reading books that were 15 years old, right? Like, why am I spending $40,000 a year to learn something that's 15 years old? It didn't make sense to me.
Especially in biology, probably where like 15 years is like
an eternity, stuff, right? Yeah, like it's not even valid anymore.
I know.
And it's interesting because with the internet, now we can take that information, we can package it, we can publish it, we can share it with people, we can sell it to people, but then we can keep it up to date. And that's what I love about it.
So understand, so if you are an entrepreneur, let's say you're in the info business, right? So you're the guy that will basically say, okay, listen, I will show you how to take the stuff that you know that you're an expert in and turn that into an online course that you can actually sell.
Right.
And then in terms of how you, the marketing side, you leave that to someone else. You're the expert in the publishing side.
I do both.
You do both?
I do both, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I first started this, the reason that I even went into this was I started making, when I was like 22 years old, I told you this before, but my dad, he lost his life savings in 24 hours with WorldCom. And I was going to medical school. That was my deal. I had no desire.
Bernie Evers, right? So that makes it
chill
up your spine.
What's funny is I remember my dad telling me when he invested, he was in real estate. He sold all of his real estate in his mid-60s. He retired. Had plenty of money.
They bought MCI and
he did. Well, he told me, he said, I can go down and put my finger on that building because it was in Clinton, Mississippi, and that's where I went to school. So he felt there was this like comfort level with it being like a local business, a tangible business. He could touch it, you know. And 24 hours after he put his life savings in it, it went bankrupt. And so then I started seeing what happens when something like that happens to you. I started like at a young age. I saw what that does to a family, to a marriage, to children, right? And I kept trying to inspire my dad. I kept saying, look, man, you made millions of dollars in real estate. You own banks, you own car dealerships, you did all this stuff. Like you can do it. I remember I'd have conversations, like 2-hour-long conversations every night with him about, you can do this, but sometimes you're just beaten too bad. Sometimes you just make a mistake, you make one error, And it's just, it doesn't matter what you do, you cannot quickly recover it. And for us, it meant my parents losing their home, me not having the money all of a sudden to go to school, and finish. And so
it happened that fast, just like
almost overnight. Yeah. And so
I remember when it happened, when all of a sudden the whole fraud was,
Right.
he was doing accounting fraud, so carrying forward something, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the whole thing. There was unrealized losses basically on the books, right? Yeah.
And that was a real defining moment, for me, because I looked at it and I said, I got to figure out how to help them. But my dad he was gung ho. Like, he wanted me going to medical school. It didn't matter what happened. Yeah. I was going to medical school. So like dropping out of school and getting a regular job, and that wasn't going to work. So I started looking for ways to make money on the internet. And man, I started my first business was selling car parts. I mean, for a Ford Mustang, like legitimately one car.
All right. We're here with one of my favorite sponsors of all. Blue Chew, the erection pill of all erection pills. Chewable, hits you like that. Listen, let me tell you the problem with the old stuff. The name, the V, right? You know what it is. Here's the problem. You have to take it on an empty stomach. How spontaneous. Oh, honey, wait, I can't have sex because we just ate. So your dick's like, come on, all right? You want to really get a world-class erection, battering ram ready. I'm talking about an erection that teaches someone a lesson, okay? This is the drug for you, and it's legal. Your doctor's going to prescribe it. In fact, have a doctor speak to you on the phone, deliver it to you in your home, right? With, perfectly, nondescript wrapping. Not to be embarrassed about, everyone uses this stuff, right? Everyone uses this stuff, right? They have stuff for the regular, just, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, sex, or they have the whole weekend pill. You stay hard the whole weekend. This is great stuff, guys. Check it out. And here's the deal. Best part of all, because you're on this podcast, obviously, this is the perfect promo for me, right? BlueChew.com. Get your first order for free. They're going to give it to you for free. Enter the promo code WOLF. All you have to do, pay $5 shipping and handling. It's free. Check it out. All right, this is from our sponsor, Enclosed, the most awesome lingerie. You can do everything online. Choose your wife. Perfect time, by the way, your wife or girlfriend. Holidays coming up. Rather than trying to figure out what to get her, just get her lingerie. The gift that keeps on giving. They have size guarantees. They tell you what you should buy. Just tell them like what her taste is, right? And boom, they'll help you actually pick out a gift right there online. Awesome program, really is. They also have multi-month gifts. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And here's the deal. Because you're on this podcast, right, they're giving you a major discount. You get $35 off any purchase of a multi-month gift. Go to getenclosed.com. That's getenclosed.com and check it out. Trust me, your wife or partner is going to love this. Great stuff. The gift that truly keeps on giving.
I mean, I had a Mustang. My dad bought me a Mustang when I was 15 years old, and it was the cheapest Mustang GT made. I mean, stripped down. You had to manually roll the windows up. It was like a race car, And I must have spent $40,000 of his money on that car between then and by the time I went to college. I mean, it had 1,000 horsepower. I mean, I was constantly modifying it, And so when I figured out, I was like, okay, I need to make some money. I want to make money online. What do I do? I kind of immediately reverted to something I knew, something I understood. I knew my customer because I was my customer. So it made sense to me. And I started selling the performance aftermarket parts. Okay. So the internet, and this is what I love about the internet, is it gives anybody an opportunity to succeed. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, your race, where you're located. Nothing matters. I was 22 years old, and I ended up with direct distributorships from almost every major performance part manufacturer in the country at 22 years old. I operated it out of like a little corner desk in my bedroom. And I was shipping these parts all over the world. I had customers in Australia. I had customers in Canada.
Were you actually taking possession or middling?
No, I was just drop shipping them, but straight from the manufacturers. And so I built that business to $200,000 or $300,000 a month really fast. And it's what kept
in revenue?
in revenue with about 20%, 25%
Okay, so
profit
make
margins, give or
$500,000 a
take.
year, yeah.
Yeah, so I was making decent money, but I also realized real fast that, 10 years ago when I did this, I mean, people weren't just putting their credit card numbers in online. They wanted to call, they'd shop online, but they still wanted to call you
Yeah, it's
and
different
say,
times,
hey,
sure.
what are you real?
Yeah.
So I was on the phone man, I had 2 cell phones with me every day, both with call waiting, and I was still in school. So I had to memorize all the car parts. So I sat down and memorized every part, the part number, the price, what cars it went on, like everything from every manufacturer. And I'd be in class taking a test. I'd walk out when my phone would buzz. I'd take an order, write the information down, go back in and finish my test. Like I was 24/7 attached to the phone because I knew that it was an opportunity to make money, and every dollar I made, it was a dollar we didn't have to worry about. And it was just, that was my main focus. And so I eventually started doing affiliate marketing just by accident. I needed a credit card. I didn't have one. And I went online to get a credit card, and down at the bottom somewhere it said make money marketing credit cards. I was like, sign me up, And so I said, man, if I can make money getting credit cards, I'll sign up for 50 of them and get paid, $250, $300 a pop. So I almost just stumbled into this, making money marketing credit cards. So I became one of the largest affiliates for Chase, American Express, Orchard Bank, Household Bank, Advanta, Bank of America, Citibank. I was helping people get and apply for credit cards.
Placing ads online?
Yeah, I became an affiliate of theirs. I'd place ads on the internet. People would be searching for the best card for students or the best card for, for gas rewards were a big thing back then too.
They'd pay you on every sign up.
They paid me every time somebody signed up. And pretty soon I had that doing $300,000 a month. So now I had 2 of them doing this. And what do you think started happening? Everybody started coming and asking me like, what are you doing? And so I started teaching. And I taught my college roommate. He and I both, we weren't the smartest guys in our class. We were both going to, medical school, pre-med, but we had to study, we weren't the guys that just walked in and, made an A. We had to study. We struggled. And he worked at his dad's suit store, and he said, I want to know how to do that. I sat down, I taught him. He made over $1 million before we got out of college. And I taught my brother. You've had him, I think, on your podcast before. And I said, man, look, you made $1 million just like that doing it. And I started just seeing that when you have this information, you have this knowledge, if you can transfer it to people, if you can give it to people, it can change their lives. And that's the reason, that's what got me started in this whole digital publishing world. All I do is I take the stuff that I learn how to do, and then I put it into a format that other people can understand it, learn it, and then take action with it. And it's just, that's what started me in this whole thing. And I've been doing it now for 15 years.
So the idea is, so do you sell this as, do you just teach people who want to develop courses, or is there a business opportunity side of this? If you're an expert, go into the business of selling online courses, and I'll show you how to take what you have and make it into courses. Mm-hmm. Is that the way it works?
Yeah. I mean, look, I have
an example like a client.
I mean, I have a lot of different, courses that we've created, because what I like to do is I like to take anything that I do online and I do well, and I'm successful with it. I like to turn around and make that into a course for people, right? So I've done it with affiliate marketing. I've taught people how to do the same thing with the banks and with many other, businesses that they can partner with and be an affiliate with. I've done it for writing your own book, because I've written a book. I've sold over 1 million copies of it. And so I said, hey, I could teach people that want to write a book how to do it, and then how to also sell that book, right? And sell it at a large scale. I've taught people how to use Facebook fan pages in their real estate businesses. I have 30 different courses that I've published that are all about the things that I've done. And then I've got a course that teaches people how to create courses, because there's so many people that have knowledge that they just don't know how to get out to the world. And I remember being in that spot when I wanted to start teaching people. The first thing I did was I wrote a book. Mm-hmm. It's called The Hidden Millionaire. And I said, I'm going to teach people how to do this. And I called QVC.
QVC?
Yeah. I thought, hey, this is great. If I could just get on QVC and they would just talk about my book, people would buy it. And they laughed at me. They didn't even pay me any attention. They just was like, what is this kid calling us about selling a book on QVC? It was just the first, this was 10 years, 15 years ago. I thought, man, this would be great. And I realized then that most people, including myself, just don't know how to do it. I mean, for me, I just said, hey, I'm going to sell it. Like, I was too excited about it. So, hell, I just filmed my own television show and ran the TV show myself. We ran an infomercial with Mark Victor Hansen, the Chicken Soup for the Soul, co-author.
Let's stop right there for a second. Okay, so that is, you said that I just did it myself. How most people, though, probably wouldn't just do that. Okay,
probably not.
What? Explain to me the process. All right, so you already had some success, right? You had this success. Essentially, it started with almost by accident. You said, right, where you need to make some money, right? It started with auto parts because that's something that you knew. Then you transitioned from there to credit cards, and you became a very large player in the as an affiliate for the banks, right? And then did you go right from there into creating courses? Were there more product things you kept teaching?
No, that I went straight from that. I was doing both of those businesses. I never quit. I mean, we still have the Mustang Performance business today. We still do affiliate marketing today. It's just I had started having so many people ask me to teach them. I sat down, I taught my brother, I taught my college roommate, I taught people, and then I thought, hey, I want to teach more people, but how do I do that? I can't do it, just me to them.
My question is, though, is that how did you just go from there to filming a TV commercial? Who taught you? Who taught you about ad buying? Who taught you about infomercials? So there had to be, what I'm trying to do is that there's so many people that are probably in similar situations to you were in, yet you managed to crack the code on how to become someone that wasn't a celebrity. Yeah, it's easy for me. I have a movie about my life. I can go on TV, right? But most people don't have that. How did you do this? What was the first thing that you did that allowed you to essentially, you had this transformational moment somehow where you did something like you said, I went on TV. No. How did you do that?
I mean, honestly, it's like for me, it's just like when I started my first business, I never even thought about, what if I can't do this? What if it doesn't work?
Okay.
What if I fail at this? It was literally just, okay, I'm going to do it.
Fair enough.
So now I might as well just do it.
System. You had a belief that you just get it done.
Yeah,
nothing was going to stop you.
Yeah,
right?
really, not getting it done never even really crosses my mind with pretty much anything, but especially at that moment in my life. So my mom had a friend who was in the seminar industry. He'd done some seminars and speaking for real estate companies and stuff. And I called him up and I said, hey, you know anything about infomercials? And he said, hey, I do. I know some people. I've had, I've been in the circle with people that know infomercials and such. And so I made a connection. And then that connection led me to another one. And then I ended up in a studio in Arizona filming an infomercial where, the reality was they told me 99 infomercials had failed and I wasn't going to do well.
So I always hear about the same studio in Arizona everyone seems to end up at. And they always have the same story. They say, and that 99, I think it must be the same studio everyone goes to.
I don't know. I don't know. I think for me it was.
Is that the hotbed of it in Arizona or something?
I don't think so. I think one of my friends, Dean Graziosi, you probably know.
Yeah, of course.
It was his studio, and and he was really successful on television.
Great.
And I think for me, it's all about connecting with the best people, right? Okay. And
so you got to Dean.
I got to Dean, and I sat down.
Now things start to make sense. Now, okay. So Dean basically said to you, "Here's what you got to do."
I actually met Dean when I sat down to film. So it was more of a hey, just sit down and let's film the show and see if it works thing. And it wasn't like a here's exactly what you need to do. Dean didn't know anything about what I was doing, so he couldn't necessarily help in that regard, right?
He's in the real estate space.
Yeah. So it was just he had the studio, and they wanted shows, and he's brilliant at what he does, and so he just sat me down and said, "Let's go, let's film." It was just like a one take gig, and for me, I was nervous. I was like most anybody would be, but I think when I sat down to film that show, what made it work was that I was a little bit nervous. I was just kind of raw. I wasn't, polished. I wasn't
the authentic
salesy and all that. I just told my story, and I think that's one of the things, like I said, I'm really good at converting sales through video. And I think it's because I can have this ability, to transfer the feeling, like what I'm feeling to people who are watching things when I'm telling my story. And I think that's what people need, right? Like you can't, when you get so salesy and so pushy and so all of this, it becomes an unauthentic thing, right? It's just not authentic.
I always say people love to buy things they hate to get sold to.
Yeah. And
so
that's
you come across as just a nice guy telling a really compelling story. It's authentic. It's not pushy. It's sincere, right?
And I believed it. I 100% believed in it.
And what was it? What was the book about? It was the first. Was it your?
It's called the first one's called The Hidden Millionaire, and the other one was called Advertising Profits from Home. So it was basically teaching people how to do what I had done and how to think the way I had thought. And, both things that they really needed to be successful with this. And I'd seen it work for other people, around where I lived. So when I went to film that show, like in my mind, I'd never done this before. I'd never, sold a book, never been on television, but I just thought, hey, I'm going to help a lot of people with this.
It was legitimate. It was you were giving massive value, and that came across, right? Mm-hmm. So was it something so once you film this, that's okay. So that's the filming aspect, right? Then there's the whole media buying. How did that whole thing happen? So
obviously Dean had a show for a long time that was successful, and we just plugged right into the media buyers. I mean, he had all those connections right through this, through his studio. So we plugged into the media buyers. They started testing it. The show did really well. And so from there, we scaled it, and it kind of went crazy for about 4 years.
All right. So here's the lesson, everyone. The lesson, this is now I think we really see something important here, which your life crystallizes, is that you can go into something without knowing all the steps in the process. Right. And the reason is because there's lots of people along the way who will make money helping you because they'll provide the services that you need to help you become successful, right?
Right.
You didn't try to become an expert media buyer. No, you found the great media buyers. You didn't try to become an expert at filming an infomercial. You found people with a studio that So in other words, I think the thing to be learned from this is that what you had was a great idea. And you had an ability and something to get a point across. Obviously, it was about persuasion now,
right?
Okay, in a very authentic way. But also, you simply had something of value to get out there to the world, right? And and I think what holds people back often is they feel like, well, I don't know how to go out and film or, work the internet or and you don't have to know all.
Right. Especially now.
Right.
Especially
now. Right. Exactly.
It's
it's gotten so spoon-fed now. But the point is that all it really takes is the desire, this burning desire to succeed. Correct me if I'm wrong here, right? And having something that has massive value and then be willing to do the work, get some things wrong along the way, right? Learn the rules of, not risking everything, right?
Right.
But people are out there and it's not they're going to help you because of the kindness of their heart. They're in business to help you, correct?
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, when I wrote that book, internet marketing, if you will, like selling a book on the internet or on YouTube or Instagram. There was no Instagram. So didn't even exist, right? Now, being able to get your information out there, whether it's in the form of an ebook or an online course or even a physical book, it's even easier for people because you don't have to make the connections to get on national television like I did. You don't have to spend the $500,000 or $600,000 a week that I did 4 and 5 and 6 weeks in advance. Like you can do this so much easier and so much faster now. But I think what happens to most people is they feel like you said, they feel like they got to have it all done before they can launch or before they can take one step. They got to know every single thing, and that's not the way. It never works out that way.
And also, if you try to learn all the steps, you'll find out, oops, I had it wrong. I got to pivot somewhere, and you don't know. It almost happens as you plan it. But in the same token, though, I don't want people to think. One of the things I think is really stupid is say, just jump and grow wings on the way down.
Yeah, no,
that's dangerous. You need to have little nubby wings to fly, which is and hence what you really do. So in other words, what you do is you give people roadmaps. So let's say an integral part of any information marketer or any educator, right? And it's all going online now. It just is. Take it for granted. It's not going back to the old days. Its bandwidth keeps getting faster and more robust and more available. Right? It's just everything's going to be online, right?
Oh,
who even knows where it's going? But it's online. That's for sure, right? An integral part of monetizing any idea is the ability to essentially get it out there to teach someone something, right? That's the essence, right? Yeah. That's what you do, right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean,
among other things.
Yeah, I mean, look, we do a lot of different things, but I think the biggest thing that I've been able to accomplish is taking that information, getting it to people, getting their feedback, which is something that you couldn't really do with television, right? I mean, that was much more difficult.
With focus groups years later, like this is instant, like
it's
almost
like this is amazing, like really quick, boom, boom, boom. I've got information now. I can go edit and change and make some upgrades and updates to my courses that help even more people.
Like when do they stop listening? When they
yeah, I mean, the last course that I released, I spent more time on the automations that were helping people get through the course and then give me feedback when they dropped off than I spent on the actual content of the course. So it's kind of we're kind of shifting to a marketplace where we want people to finish our courses. We want them to consume the information. We don't want to just sell the information and nobody have access to it or nobody even that uses it, right?
Right.
In the past, it was harder to track that. It was harder to see that. I sell 1 million books. How do I know if somebody read one, right? Now I can track it. And that helps me to make what I'm producing better.
Got it. Now, one thing, I had your brother on, and he was amazing, by the way. He's in you guys are partners, but you do different stuff. He's more into the sort of the drop shipping, the physical side. You're more into the other side of the equation, right? But one thing I said to him, I'll say it here, so just in case people can relate to it, is that you guys have a reputation that's very, very defined. It's really consists of two things. You're the absolute best at what you do. Everyone I know, guys, I just trust me. I'm giving him the seal of approval because I really mean this, and I want to know so you could listen without worrying that it's the right because it is the right information. There's two things you guys are known for. Number one, having the absolute best of the best products, and number two, you're just wildly ethical. You guys are just known as being really ethical, right?
Yeah.
Is that no? You just are. It's a fact. I've spoken to many, many people. Everyone says the same thing. It's something to be. It's a great honor, by the way, and. What do you think the reason is that? What's the secret to that? Because that's a sustainable type of success. Right. Sustainable. You guys will be around forever. Is it by accident? Is it something that you do it? You just put so much time and care into what you teach people? What do you think it is?
I think it's a product of upbringing. I mean, as crazy as that might sound.
Well, your brother said something similar.
I mean, my dad was always on us about doing the right thing. I mean, probably. Maybe a little even over the top about it, right? And so he kind of just programmed us from like a really early age to just always do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. Don't just try to make money, do the right thing. Don't just try, don't try to get away with stuff. Do the right thing. It was just constantly programmed in us. So like, I mean, when I was in high school, I wasn't the kid that was out partying, drinking, getting in trouble. I mean, I didn't even drink alcohol, I think, till I was probably 26 at all. And never smoked, my dad always told us these things put you on the wrong path.
Right.
So like the cover of my book, The Hidden Millionaire, it's a guy at the fork in the road and he's holding a briefcase and it says, you decide in the middle of it, right? And there's this fork and there's two different paths, right? My dad gave me that picture when I was probably 14 years old. And he said, son, every day in your life, you're going to come to these little forks in the road where you've got to make a decision, right? Might be how much effort are you going to put into, to your schoolwork today? Or how nice are you going to dress for this job interview? Or whatever the case may be, right? How well are you going to do the job that you're doing, right? And you've got to decide which path you're going to take.
Okay.
And he said, now, remember that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you're going to be at a place that's a product of all those many decisions that you've made along the way. And he said, so every time you make the wrong decision, it's putting you on this wrong path. And he said, make sure that you recognize these. So legitimately, like I always think of like the decisions that I'm making in life as like I'm at this fork in the road. And it doesn't matter if it's the smallest of small things or if it's this gigantic decision that I have to make. Like this is
I totally get it.
The way I think. So when I'm thinking about what we're doing or how we're doing it or how we're presenting it, I'm always thinking like I'm at this little fork in the road. Like I could probably sell more of my stuff if I said things a little, maybe a little hypier, maybe made a few promises that maybe weren't exactly the truth, but I could get away with it, right? But I always look at that as, hey, I do that a few times and I'm going to end up on this wrong path, this path that, that I don't want to be on.
The way I always describe my own life is I went down that bad path. And it's almost like, the rationalization, you got to be careful about this, is that I'll just do it once and then I'll be a pillar.
Right.
But that doesn't work because what happens is your ethical line starts to move a little bit. And next time you step a bit further and a bit further, before you know it, these tiny, imperceptible little moves to the wrong side of the equation, and you're doing things you thought you'd never do.
Right.
Because I too was raised really well by parents that instill values, and yet I went down to Wall Street. I know Wall Street can be a tough place, and I'm not going to blame Wall Street for corrupting me.
Right.
But you know what happened was I made the mistake. Is I didn't look at each individual decision as a fork in the road, and I thought that some little corners that could be cut weren't big deals, but they are big deals because they change your decision-making strategy. Because next time you say, well, I did it, it's not so bad, and you start to become lax. I say you can't be half pregnant when it comes to ethics. True or false?
That's just true. That's
right?
true. And that's
what you're saying, basically.
That's legitimately how I've done everything. I mean, look, we've done a lot of different things.
Wait, but let me stop you. So you've done that, right? Totally ethical. How much have you sold in products?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, you and your brother.
Oh.
Two ethical guys, never cut corners. How much have you sold?
I mean, we're hundreds of millions.
So hundreds of millions. So the message to everyone is you don't have to cut corners.
No.
Right? You could do it all the right way, make tons. You guys make a ton of money. What would you say to someone? What, in terms of opportunity right now, today, as the world stands, right? What are the biggest opportunities that you see? You guys and your brother really got this whole online marketing information. Right. Where are the big opportunities right now?
I mean, I personally think it's in this online education space. I mean, this is a billions and billions of dollars industry. I mean, there's tons of people that are just making a fortune. I was just talking to a guy yesterday. We're both at one of these events. I met him at one of these events. Yeah,
right. You and I.
He was telling me that he's done, I think it was $5 or $6 million a year in sales of an educational product that simply helps people who have auto repair dealerships, like car dealerships, right? That just do auto repair.
I know him.
Yeah, that he's doing $5 or $6 million a year selling them information, like on how to run a better auto repair shop, right? Like they continue to. The crazy thing is, it's a monthly fee. Like I think it was $1,200, $1,300 a month that they're paying him. They keep paying because they're getting results. But I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow. I mean, we know about the diet space, we know about the stock investing space, the finance space, the make money from the internet, build your own business space. But what about all these other little spaces, these other little niches that people are just making insane money in? And that's just the thing. There's so many people that could help the small business owners, right? With consulting and with education and with helping them run their business better, right? Produce more results. And they just don't realize it yet. You know, they don't realize that they have that information that they can get out there and that they'll get paid for it. But somebody like him changed his life.
Of all the things, you sell a lot of courses, right? And they are all awesome. They just are. For someone that wants to, because I strongly recommend that you at least Google this man and go to his website. No, really, because the stuff is so great, all right? I personally know so many people who've gotten rich who've gotten rich following your stuff. Seriously, and I wouldn't say that unless it was true, because it is true, right? And I'm not getting paid a penny for we don't have an affiliate deal. Right? It's not like I'm just saying it because I really believe it, right? But what is the one product that you think is the best of all the stuff for the average person if they want to start following? What should they do first?
I think it depends, the path you want to go down. If you want to be an affiliate, right? Which, I mean, there's a ton of money in that, right? That's usually how people get their feet wet in the online space.
Because you don't have
right?
your own product. You're selling someone else's
You're selling somebody else's stuff. I released a product this year called Partner with Anthony. It's literally $7. It's not 7,000. It's not 4,000. It's $7. And I got this idea because, like Adrian said, we do webinars every week for our students. I've been doing them for 5 years.
And I do it well, yeah.
Like,
great.
I mean, every single week, never miss. It's just, it doesn't even matter what happens. Our dad passed away on a Tuesday. Adrian did his webinar Tuesday night at 9:00. I mean, we buried him on a Friday. I did my webinar Thursday night at 9. We never miss. And we don't sell. It's just value. It's just value add.
Me too.
But I learn. I learned from my students, and what I learned was that a lot of them can be affiliates, and you see a ton of programs talking about make money as an affiliate. The problem is, let's say you're an affiliate of something, and you go promote it, and you sell a bunch of it, right? What's happening to those people after they buy that product? You don't know.
No.
You're just an affiliate, right? So if you're not there to help them, to teach them, to educate them on how to use that product, what do you think they do?
They don't use it.
They're not going to use it. And so a lot of times they ask for a refund. And then all of a sudden, your affiliate commissions that you made start getting cut smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because everybody's getting their money back because they don't know what to do. So I built this Partner with Anthony program because I realized, man, like if I could help people promote good products, good tools, good services that we use, like ClickFunnels, for instance. You know what ClickFunnels is.
Of course,
we use it. We're one of their number one affiliates, and the reason is because people come into this program, and I'm the one that educates. I'm the one that teaches people how to use it. But I let all of the people that purchase the Partner with Anthony program make all the affiliate commissions. So literally, it's like using me to educate and to sell all these affiliate products for you. And it's just been phenomenal for people that are brand new. We've sent out over, I think in the last 6 months, we've built this to over maybe 25,000 people that are in it. And I mean, we're sending thousands of commission checks every single month to people because they're actually making money. And the reason is because they're doing it the right way. So and that's the reason why I made it such a ridiculously low cost, because I wanted people to see that you can make money as an affiliate. You can make money if you do things the right way. And if you have a little help along the way, it makes it a little easier.
Sure. So in other words, the idea is that it's just for people that don't know anything about this, knows when you're an affiliate, essentially, you're driving traffic or creating some flow of traffic to buy someone else's product, right? And then they'll pay you some sort of royalty or commission for doing that, right? And then the idea is that if you're not careful, the problem is that then people start returning that product and you start getting discounts because eventually like the old stuff starts cannibalizing the new stuff because you're getting refunds because they paid you the first month, then too much. So you get
it's just compounding confusion to people. And so now when you buy the Partner with Anthony program, you can just refer people back to it, and it sells and teaches at the same time. So it gives you a mechanism, an ecosystem to put people into so that they make money, they're able to learn and only buy the things that they need for their business and not a bunch of stuff that they don't need.
And can we put that link up here? What's the link here? How do we find that course?
So it's you can put it up on I'll give you a link. You can put up on the screen.
We'll put the link up on the screen. Excellent. And then of all the courses that you have created, what's the one you're most proud of?
Honestly, that one.
Really?
Yeah. Because you know, it's the latest one that I put out. It's $7 a month. I mean, we're not getting rich off of it, right? I mean, I've got courses that have done millions and millions of dollars. I think that one was kind of like the culmination of everything that I've tried to teach and tried to do in that affiliate marketing space for like the newbie, right? The person that's never built an online business and is just trying to figure out how in the world do I make this internet pay me something? You know what I mean? Like just that person, right? Like how are all these people making this money? I like that because I spent so much time on it. It's so step by step, and it's only $7. I have courses that are, you know, up to $5,000, $6,000. And I did this one and I did it at a ridiculously low price. And I'll be honest with you, it's probably got more information and more content in it than any of the other ones. Now, are you going to make millions of dollars with it? No, right? We have a course called Digital Marketing Academy that teaches people how to build their own courses, right? Much more expensive course, much bigger upside when you're in the information marketing.
But it's a good way to get started.
Very good way to get started.
And then you could take some of the profits and then you could start buying other courses if you want to increase your knowledge base even further, right?
Yeah, and then you're learning. And so what you learn, you can now go and create a course of
and then sell it yourself.
And sell it yourself and help people yourself.
Right, because the only difference is an affiliate, you're driving traffic to sell someone else's product.
Instead of your own.
So now, so essentially, it's an interesting philosophy because now you've cracked the code for driving traffic. Now, hey, wait, let me come up with a product too and sell my own product. Right.
And that's the evolution that I teach is
love it.
Start here because here is easier, right? There's less of those road bumps that you got to go through. But then once you master this and once you learn this, like the real money is in publishing your own course, creating your own course, doing your own webinars, selling your own self,
Sure.
and then helping people along the way, the same way that you've been helped, right? And so I think it's a very logical evolution.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the biggest mistake that most people in this space, in this information marketing space, they've had a little bit of success, maybe driving some traffic. What stops them from getting to that level where they can actually make full-time money? There's a lot of people, they dabble, but they don't ever make that. What's the biggest mistake? What do you think holds people back? Because there's so much opportunity out there that it's almost like, it's a shame that people like so many come and go. They don't. What do you think that's about, though?
I think I think two things. Number one is they're usually doing it the wrong way, right? Like they're usually trying to find some kind of shortcut, right?
Strategy.
Because somebody sold them a course that said, hey, here's the $1,000 in 10 days blueprint, right? I mean, anytime you see that kind of stuff, you should just know right off the bat, they're full of shit. Like It just isn't, there is no make $1,000 in 10 days, make $40,000 in 400 days. This is crap, right? This is, so the first thing is most of them have bought that. They've tried it. Newsflash, they didn't make the $1,000 in 10 days. Now they have no confidence in themselves because they feel like it's their fault when the reality is they never really had a chance in the first damn place to make money. And so they go into everything with this skeptical mindset, that, hey, you're probably going to scam me, right? But I'm going to buy your course anyway because I'm compelled to continue to buy stuff.
I'm desperate because I'm not living the life I want.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's probably not going to work for me. So when you go into stuff with that mindset, there's zero chance you're going to be successful. So I think that's the number one thing. And I think the number two thing is that especially in the course publishing world, like for the people that are publishing their own courses, right? And they're trying to make them work, but they can't make them work, right? They cannot figure out how to make them profitable. I think the biggest difference in what we do and what they do is that we focus on the back-end monetization of everything, right? So if we get a lead onto our email list, right? We have a 4.5-year email and all kinds of other stuff, whether it's direct mail, phone calls, SMS, mini chat messages on Facebook, the whole 9 yards. We have a 4.5-year automated monetization process that takes place. So if you opt into my email list for 4.5 years,
there's a pathway.
I'm going to be marketing to you in some way, shape, or form, and it's all obviously based on what actions and action that you take or don't take, right? And so for us, it becomes less about, if I spend $1 on my Facebook ad, did I make $1 back today? Right? Because
lifetime value of the customer.
Because we've increased the lifetime value of our customer to such a ridiculous rate that we can outspend anybody because we know our numbers.
Do you teach that to people as well?
Yes.
How to set up that? So how would someone buy that product?
That's our digital marketing academy. So that's what's going to take somebody. And you can put a link on the screen for that. But here's the thing. That is not for the person that doesn't have a business and they're like, oh my, it's for a consultant that's tired of spending all their time on the telephone, or for a consultant that can only talk to so many people in a week, so they're limited to how much money they can make.
Sure.
Or for somebody that has information and wants to build a digital course, or maybe they have one, but it's just not to the 7-figure, 8-figure, level yet. Sure. That's who that course is for. But it teaches you how to build a real business.
Got it.
Not how to just sell a product.
Yeah.
And that's where people make the mistake. They think that it's a real business. They're selling one product. Name me one place that sells one product.
I don't know one.
Me neither. Because real businesses don't just sell one product.
Right.
And that's where information marketers get lost. They think I got one product, I got one thing, I'm going to sell it, and now I've got a business. No, you have a product. You don't have a business.
Got it. Where do you see, so you said you see the big future in, like, right now in education, right? Info marketing, basically, right? So, in other words, could you explain that for, in the context of like someone listening saying, okay, like I'm an it's like the expert space, basically, like, if you're an is it that?
Yeah. I had to say this expert space because not everybody's an expert, but they've still got some. Look, if you're just better at this than me, right? You might not be an expert,
relative
but
expert.
I can learn a lot.
You're a relative expert.
Then it's good. Then it's good money spent. Yeah, I think it's in the space of teaching people how to do things. Like, think about what do most people use YouTube for? They go there because, like, for me, my car is a real pain for me to figure out how I have many different cars. And so when I go to try to put the gas in one of my cars, oftentimes I forget how to get the gas thing to pop open. Okay, get the little thing to pop open so I could put the gas in there. I know this sounds like a really ridiculous thing, but it's very true. I go to YouTube and I Google how do I pop the gas cap on the Rolls Royce, and it tells me where the button is because it's hidden. I can't find it. I mean, this happens constantly.
I actually did it because, I of course know how to make a tie, but I wanted to make a perfect tie. And I didn't like my knot. I was like, I'm going to learn a new knot. So you go to the internet, right? How do you make a men's tie, right?
There you go. You learn. So people are searching for solutions to their problems, for answers to their questions. So if you can create the courses that answer those questions or solve those problems, you can make a fortune. There's spaces that I would have never thought, the survival space, right? Preppers. You know what this is?
Yeah. It's
like, I know I live in the South.
Mean like for the preparing for the end of the...
Are preparing for natural disasters, be prepared for fires, be prepared for hurricanes, be prepared for tornadoes, be prepared for the power grid to go off. I mean, the thing is, it's like, that's a big industry. I mean, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I knew a guy who was making $20 million a year selling information on how to create your, bug out bag? It's the bag that you're preparing. You run with this bag. This is the one bag. Like, legitimately making $20 million a year, teaching people how to create what to put in those bags. And I just thought to myself, like, wow, I'm in the wrong space. Like, I should, but I mean, think about it. We've heard about auto repair car dealerships. We've heard about survival people. I mean, there's such a huge desire for information and education, and it's not getting any smaller. Right. And we both know that many, especially millennials, they're making, a lot of them are making the choice not to spend $40,000 a year on college. Right. They're making the choice to spend $4,000 a year on this education on the internet that's going to teach them how to build a business, because the reality is, I didn't go to medical school. I could have, but I didn't. Right. I got a biology degree and I've never once used it in this online business. I've done hundreds of millions of dollars. I have no use for this degree. Got it. And so I think that a lot of it's just going to be more and more and more people wanting to learn this stuff.
Makes sense. All right, guys, we're going to now end, as we usually do here, as we always do, the video portion. We're going to keep going now. But listen, this has been an awesome podcast. The link's going to be on the screen right now, because you got to check his stuff. Anthony's stuff is amazing. We're going to keep going now to the audio portion. We're going to go on to Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to this stuff, all right? Share this with your friends. There's so much information here. Let's keep going now. I want you to tell me, what would you say to someone that is not in a great spot right now financially, that's like kind of in a job they don't love, feeling like they lost the spark, and they don't know kind of how to get out of their own way? What would you say to that? What's the first step?